Hi guys. So in college, I had a teacher and he was a recruiter at Macy's. And I remember he said, it's not what you know, it's who you know. So meaning that maybe you have like the best grades in the world and you're really smart, but if you don't know the right people, it's going to be really hard to have a career in business. So basically, he's saying connections are everything and networking is everything. So, for example, let's say a child of a famous singer is trying to become a singer. So, like Miley Cyrus, and her dad was like Billy Ray Cyrus, and like she's trying to become famous, trying to be on a TV show. Don't you think like it's easier for like the child of a famous singer to become famous because their parents have connections to the music industry and they have all these connections and they know all these people, as opposed to what if someone in the middle of nowhere in like a small town is trying to become a singer and their parents aren't famous and they don't know anybody? It's going to be a lot more difficult because they don't have those same connections that the famous celebrity parent has. So we should build connections with Mary and the saints because their prayers are powerful and effective. And just as we ask our family and friends to pray for us, we should ask Mary and the saints to pray for us as well. So we are called to pray for one another. In James 5:16, it says, "Pray for each other so that you may be healed. The prayer of a righteous person is powerful and effective." 2 Thessalonians 3:1, "Brothers, pray for us, that the word of the Lord may spread rapidly and be honored, just as it was with you." So in 2 Thessalonians, Paul is asking others to pray for him in that verse. He says, "Pray for us." So what does it mean to intercede for someone? So to intercede means to come between so as to prevent or alter a result or course of events. Hey, so quick change. I was editing this video and I needed to change my example for intercession. Intercession is kind of like if you've ever seen the movie Final Destination. So this girl that's on the roller coaster, when she's sitting in the roller coaster, she has a vision that the roller coaster is going to like fall off and like all of them are gonna die. And so like after she has the vision, she's sitting in the roller coaster like seat, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, like I have to get off," and she's like freaking out, and she like gets off, so then like everyone else gets off, or like a bunch of people get off, and then when the ride goes, like all the people like still on the ride like die. So it's like they all should have died, but she kind of like interceded for them because of like her vision. So another example would be having an intervention for maybe like a family member if they're addicted to heroin or cocaine or any type of drug. The point of having an intervention is to intervene. So you're trying to alter the result. You're trying to come in between and get them to stop using drugs. You're trying to get them to go to rehab and to get them to stop using drugs. So Mary, the saints, our friends and family can intercede for us through prayer. So remember in James 5:16, it says, "Pray for each other so that you may be healed." So you're praying with the intention to alter a result. You're praying with the intent to alter sickness to healing. It also says the prayer of a righteous person is effective. So effective means to be successful in producing a desired or intended result. So when your prayer is answered by God, you've just interceded because your prayer has altered a result. So because you prayed, God healed the person that was sick. So now let's imagine a hiring manager is reading a bunch of resumes and they're like, "I'm not taking any more resumes, like I'm not looking at any more," but the boss's mom calls him and is like, "Can you like look at my friend's resume, like please, like for me, can you just like look at this one last resume? I know you're done, but like can you just take this like one more?" And the boss is like, "Okay, I'll make an exception, but only because you asked me." And that is like what Mary and the saints can do for us. They can intercede, and even though the boss was done, they weren't going to look at any more resumes, someone can come in and intercede for you and say, even though you like were planning on being done, like can you look at this one last resume? So why is Mary's intercession so powerful? It's because she was Jesus's mother. And wouldn't you do anything for your mother? If some random person was like, oh, can you shovel 10 feet of snow for me? You'd be like, get lost. But if your mom was like, please, can you shovel like 10 feet of snow for me? Like, please, for me, you would, because it's your mom. And your mom is the person that like fed you and took care of you your whole life. And so Mary took care of Jesus his whole life. So Jesus would do anything for Mary. And at the wedding of Cana, they ran out of wine, and if the guests found out, it would just be really embarrassing because they would have just been throwing like not a good wedding. So Mary told Jesus that they ran out of wine, and Jesus was basically like, what does that have to do with me? He was like, that's not my problem. He was like, it's not my time, meaning like it's not my time to start performing miracles. And Mary said to the servants, do whatever Jesus tells you. And then Jesus ended up turning the water into wine. And he did it only because Mary asked him to. Because Jesus wasn't going to do it. He said, it's not my time. He said, what does this have to do with me? And Mary altered a result and interceded for the people. And Mary can intercede for you too if you ask her to pray for you. And one of the promises of praying the entire rosary, so all 3 sets of mysteries, the joyful, glorious, and sorrowful, one of the promises of praying the entire rosary is that you shall obtain all that you ask of Mary by the recitation of the rosary. So if you pray the rosary every day, the full entire rosary, you will obtain all that you ask of Mary. So yeah, that's why I pray the rosary every day. And you should too. Okay, bye.